Hello and welcome to my achievement Incan architecture. Don't read the sign. There's something misspelled that was before. Okay, move on. So I'm going to stand here. Reads book because that's where I'm gonna read my book. This is an idea. This is just a Minecraft looking idea of what Machu Picchu would actually look like. So I'm going to die and come over here and read my information. So the Incan architecture was inherited from a pre-Incan civilization. The Tiwanaku culture had the greatest influence on Incan architecture. The use of stone in a building was a legacy Incans continued. Did you know that Incan architecture actually did not have any influence on any other civilization because no one knew about the Incans for a long time. So Incan architecture reflects on itself by being able to sustain all of the damage from earthquakes. Well, most of it, basically it's invincible from earthquakes. And it had a sustained food supplies, which helps the civilization thrive. So, I'm going to read another page here. So, things the Incan did that we still do today. One of them is people actually made animals out of metal, like iron or steel, but the Incans made their animals out of gold and silver. Well, they're still metals, but it doesn't matter because they're different. Did you know that Incans thought that gold was the tears of the sun and silver the tears of the moon? So I know my civilization, however, was not the first civilization at the time. It was actually the fourth civilization. And something insane is that the Incan only ruled for about 100 years and built everything, even without the wheel. That's insanely crazy. That is very tough work. And also having to chip stone with small chippers. Now we're going to come here and if you want, you can write down notes. I would highly recommend you to write down notes, because you never know when your teacher's gonna give you a test on Incan architecture, eh? Alright. So over to page 5. So Incan buildings were made of limestone. Mostly they were made of limestone, actually. Their homes had 5-degree angle walls, which gave it a trapezoid look. The trapezoid actually helped with the resistance of the earthquakes. And the walls were cut so a pole thing would stick out of another stone block, and So a pole thing would stick out of a stone block, and on another block they would make a hole so the pole can go inside of the hole. The hole is slightly bigger than the pole, so the house can move around, but after the earthquake, the blocks would go perfectly back in place due to the way the gravity affects it. Also, Inca people liked to sleep on mats, not beds. If you like, you can explore an Incan house, and the color of the mats were yellow. Okay. Let's ignore that. Moving on. So, let's see what's next inside of the book. Yes. So Incans used molten gold as a mold for the walls. They also used sulfur. They went mining in sulfur-rich areas. By the way, sulfur smells like rotten eggs. They also carved the stone with stone tools, and it would let rocks crystallize. And Incans would shape the stones just right to be resistant to earthquakes. By the way, this is a primary source. It's primary. Yeah. It's primary. So the terrace... So, oh, yeah. We're going over here now. Yeeting myself off the mountain. Death. Okay, let's go. So, the terraces actually had a layer of topsoil, a layer of sand, and a layer of bigger stones. And it also leads to a sewer under the terrace and gets poured out of the mountain. Oh, yeah. These also go for the town's terraces. Another thing is that the stones were precisely cut and smooth with large round stones and small round stones, and put the rocks together with a similar rock that can fit with another rock because in an earthquake. In Machu Picchu, it is built very close to two tectonic plates, which means that it has a ×2 earthquake chance than anywhere else in the world. This is also primary, by the way. So, primary. Yeah. Okay, don't close out of the video yet, because this, if you see, all the Incan houses normally have these hay roofs. But as you can see, this one has a red roof, and this one has a stone roof. So, I believe that with my information that I gathered in my learning, that this one is actually for the summer solstice, and this one over here is for the winter and the fall solstice. So it's good. It's very good. You see this? This is where the rain would be pouring out on the mountain. And also, I forgot to mention this. So, did you know that the Incans actually had this is not mentioned in the book, but I know about this because I've learned about it. So, did you know that the Incans actually had a way of clean water? So, what they did is that they built like a waterway over to a natural spring, and the natural spring would take its clean water all the way over to the Incan Empire, and so the Incan ruler would get the cleanest water, which is this one right here, and then the water would go all the way down to the second cleanest, and then all the way down to the dirtiest, which this water right here. So it's good. It's good. Also, when these three windows in the sun match up all the way, and they start illuminating these rocks, that means that the summer solstice is here. So that also works with this rock right here. When this window is lit up, it'll illuminate this rock, and same with this window, which is actually very cool. Also, I forgot to mention this. Incans actually did have storehouse. I think I didn't mention this in the book, but Incans actually had storage houses. The storage houses floors were made of stone. Like gravel stone, so that the water could soak through, and then their storage houses would actually not get flooded. Also, plus they had a natural air conditioning system from the coldness that they had in the mountains, which would actually keep their corn good for 2 years. Not 200. No, not 200. Also, so the storehouses would never flood, and if there was a bad harvest, then it wouldn't matter, because 2 years ago they could have had both good harvests and feast face, trade. So that's about all I've got for my Incan architecture. I hope you enjoyed it.